Welcome back to the project management creation tutorial series with Python and KivyMD. So in the previous video, we had created a splash screen, right? And we had created this login screen for our staff members, right? So let's just log in here, right? So let's just choose our Sophia Lee, right? And our password was pass12345. Okay, so let's log in, right? So in this video tutorial, we're gonna work on this home screen here, right? So just gonna add a logo, our navigation, some tabs, right? Then we're gonna fetch our databases and display them here, right? So that whenever you click a project, the pop-up is gonna show up like this, right? And we're gonna display our project information in here, add tasks, select a team member, and all of that stuff, right? And we're also gonna design the right side here. So we're gonna make sure that here we have Sophia Lee, right? And she's the designer, right? So we're gonna see it here, and because that's the user that's logged in. And we're gonna design this so that if we click on notifications button here, right, we're gonna see a notification pop up showing on our screen, right? So let's close it. And also we're gonna work on logging out, right? So here we have a pop up. Are you sure you want to log out? Yes, right? Then this takes out our log out screen, right? So let's try logging in another user. So now let's try Mark Johnson, right? Then our password has 12345. So let's log in, right? So now we can see that we have Mark Johnson here, right? So let me minimize this and let's get started. So let's navigate to our views folder, right? And we're gonna need the this home file here. So let's open home.kv and home.py, right? So inside home.py, for now, let's just leave it. Let's work on home.kv, right? So inside this home.kv, we're gonna create our navigation, right? So we're gonna put it on the left side. Then on the right side, that's gonna act as the main container for storing all our screens, right? So whenever we want to open projects, we're just gonna be showing them, right? And they're going to be in that container, right? So what I'm gonna do here, right? Let me get rid of this. Um, we need it to be horizontal, right? I don't think we're gonna need some spacing, but let's leave it for now, right? So inside here, I'm gonna put a box layout, and I'm gonna give this an orientation of vertical like this. Then gonna give this some spacing, and let's set it to let's do 20 display pixels like this, right? So let's open one of the screens, right? Let's open login. So I'm gonna need login.kv, right? Excuse me. So the background color we were using was F5, 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 right? So what I'm gonna do here is let me copy this here, right? Navigate back to home.kv. Then now I'm gonna paste this here. Check the inside once. So I'm gonna copy this. Then I'm gonna paste this one here, right? So I'm gonna change this to 6Fs. So this is going to be white, right? Excuse me. Then this one is gonna have this light gray color, right? So let me just create some space here so that we can work on the sidebar. So here I'm gonna put a comment, right? So let's say sidebar, right? And this one I'm just gonna say main window. Like this. Let me put a hashtag here so that Python knows this is a comment, right? Excuse me. So now we have this, right? So let's give this box layout as size int x, right? So we're gonna say size, this needs to be lowercase, size int x. We're gonna set this to none, and width we're gonna set this to let's start with 125 display pixels for now, right? Then we're gonna see if we need to up it or reduce it, right? So um the first thing we're gonna need, right? Let's give you some padding. Now what am I doing now? Control D, Control X. So I'm gonna put the padding here. So for our padding, right? Let me just do this. On the left side is going to be left and right side. So let's set it to 0, right? But our top and bottom padding, let's set it to 20 display pixels. So I'm gonna navigate back to our login.kv, right? And I'm gonna search for where we created our logo. Okay, so here it is, right? Um, so let me just copy this. Navigate back to home.kv. Okay, so let's paste our anchor layout here, right? So let's see. Okay, so let's shift tab this once at this, then select everything, then shift tab at one tab, right? Like this. And let's see. So let me just put an empty box layout here so that it pushes everything upwards. Then we're gonna see where our logo stands right there and how good it looks, right? Excuse me. So let's just run this and see how this looks. We might have to override this part so that we just open up and see the screen that we're working on. Okay, select, let's say Sophia Lee. So let's say pause 1 2 3 4 5, log in. Okay, so here we have our logo, right? So here we cannot see, like, we don't have a clear separation between our navigation here and the right side, right? So I'm just gonna put a line like 1 display pixel, right? Then just make it gray. So let's minimize this. So I'm gonna copy this here, then paste it here, right? Excuse me. So we're not gonna need any spacing. Let's say this is E9, E9, E9 like this. Then here, let's say size int Y. And let's say size int X. I'm gonna set it to none, and our width, we're gonna set it to 1 display pixel, right? So when we are working on our home screen, right, after we're done with the navigation, we're gonna create us some custom box layouts, right? A custom box layout and a custom float layout. So these are going to have like a shadow effect, right? So we're gonna be using that to create where we're gonna store our icons so that they pop up a lot better against our gray background, right? So for now, let's make sure we don't start with the splash screen and the login screen, right? So to do that, we're gonna navigate to our app folder, then open init.py, right? Then we need to comment these three here so that we can just have this home screen, right? So let's rerun it. Okay. This is here. It's supposed to be here. Okay. Let's look at our home.kv. Okay, so let's scroll upwards, right? Let's get rid of our spacing here. So we left this spacing here, so we're just gonna get rid of it. And now let's rerun it. I hope everything looks better now. Okay, fine. So there's a little bit of separation here, but whenever we're gonna be working on the main window, just gonna see some better separation here. So what we need to do now, we need to put this to the left, right? So let's go back here. So we anchored everything to the left, right? To the center. So what we need to do, we need to anchor it to the left like this. So now our logo should be on the left side. Okay. We definitely need some padding on the left side here. Okay. So what we're gonna do here, instead here, we're just gonna say padding. Then let's say 10 display pixels on the left and right side. Then 0 display pixels for the top and bottom, right? So let's run it again. Okay. Much better. So now we need to start putting our buttons here, right? So let's minimize this. So right here, right? Let's put a box layout like this. Underneath that, let's put an MD label. Excuse me. Let's give it a size int y of none, and let's give it a height. Let's give it a height of 20 display pixels like this, and give it some text. So our text is going to say projects like this, and let's give it some font styling. So this needs to be font style, and this is going to be label. And raw is going to be, let's set it to small, right? And excuse me, let's give it a color, right? So let's make the color AD, 8A, 8C, right? So let's put a hashtag at the start here, okay? Like this. Let's copy this, and I'm gonna put it here. And the first one is going to be navigation, like this, right? So let's run it. Let's not run it now, right? So before we do anything, we need to navigate to our widgets folder, right? So let me minimize login here, minimize app here. Okay, now open widgets. So we're gonna need buttons.py file here. So inside here, we already have some buttons, right? So we're gonna need this navigation tab, right? So let me just control D. Okay, so it's at the top here, right? So let's see. So here it is a float layout. It's horizontal, right? It has an icon and some text, right? So let's see how this looks. And excuse me. Then see if we need to edit it or change some colors or anything, right? So let's navigate back to home. Okay. So this box layout, right? I'm gonna change it to navigation tab like this. And our navigation tab is gonna have an icon, right? So our first icon, the first one should be the home screen, right? So just gonna call it I think KivyMD is an icon named navigation. It's not navigation, I mean it's a dashboard, right? So I'm gonna say dashboard outline, right? So we need the outlined one, right? I think the first one is view. The first part should be view. So view dash dashboard dash outline, right? Then the text needs to be let's call it overview like this. Then this needs to have a group, right? So that we can only have one navigation tab set to with the state set to down at a time, right? So make sure that we have one navigation tab set to down, right? So whenever we click another one, it's gonna set the other one to normal, and then the one that we played is gonna be set to down, right? So the group here, let's just set it to, hmm, let's just call it navigation. Okay. Then we need to say the first one we're gonna set the state to down, so that whenever we run our system, the first tab is set to down, right? And the tab corresponds to the first screen we're gonna put. So here we're gonna set the state to down like this. So for now, let's not put an on state function, right? So let's just create this. Let me copy this and duplicate it 3 more times, right? Like this. But make sure that this one is the state set to normal, same as this one and this one, right? So let's run this and see how this looks. We don't see our icons. Okay, minimize this. Let's see what's up, right? So this is navigation tab. Okay, so let's just look at our navigation tab real quick, right? So here we have the text. The text is set to a white color, right? So let's change this to, we change this to black. Uh, let's see. Let's try black for now. Black should be 6 zeros, right? Like this. Let's do the same for the icon. Then if the state is normal, it's transparent, right? But if it's else, it's going to be, this should be a light grayish color, right? So what we can do here, what can we do? So we're using that purple color, right? So let's just make sure that whenever the state is set to down, the text is set to that purple color. But if the state is normal, it's just black, right? So what we can do is I can just copy this, right? And then I'm gonna paste it here, right? So it's black if the state is normal, right? Else the text should be purple, right? So let's open our home.kv, scroll upwards. Where's our logo? Okay, here, right? So we need this color here. Let me just copy this, navigate back to buttons.py. Okay, let's paste this here. So now let's copy this whole line. Then I'll paste it here, right? So let's run it and see if we seeing our navigation buttons, right? But if we see them, then we're gonna see what else we can tweak in on this navigation tab button. So let's run it again. Okay, so this is how it looks, right? So let me just press the other one. Okay. So I think we should reduce we should just get rid of the spacing if inside the navigation button if we have it, right? So that this pushed a little bit to the left. Then if we have some padding, we're just gonna get rid of it. So let's minimize this. So here we've left and right side we have some 10 display pixels. So let's just get rid of all the padding, right? And let's get rid of all the spacing here, like this. The background color, right? We need to find a color like this purple color, right? Then we just make it a lot transparent, right? So let's our colors here, right? So this is red, green, blue, right? So let's make this one 0, right? So that we can only have purple here. And let's up this to the same 0.2, right? Let's try 0.2. So let's run this. Mm, that's not purple, right? I don't know what color that is. Somewhat purple. Okay, let's reduce it to 0.1. and see how that looks. It has some rounded edges, right? So let me just minimize this. Rounded rectangle. Okay, let's get rid of this. And let's make sure that this one is just a rectangle. Okay. Okay. So here, right, we need to get rid of this, right? So I'm gonna try something. Let's say 0.933. For the red color, let's let's put like something like 0.4. So here let's say 0.4, right? So let's try and run it. Okay. This is much better, but we can just make it a little bit darker. So let's change this to 0.3. So now let's run it. It's a lot darker. So zero point 0.2 should be fine. What? Okay. Let's take to 0.1, right? So let's put it. Okay. So now let's navigate back to home.kv, right? And put the rest of our navigation buttons, right? Okay, so for this video, right, for this tutorial series, we just only gonna have three navigation buttons, right, like the main ones, right. So the first one was overview, right. So the second one, let's put projects, and the third one, let's have stuff like this. Then the icon for stuff should be account group outline, right. And for projects, right, let's put a briefcase here. Those are the correct icon names, right? So let me get rid of the third one here, like this. So for for our labels, right? Let's put this inside a box layout, like this. And let's give this box layout some padding. I'm just gonna put the left and right padding, and we're gonna set this to 10 display pixels. And the top and bottom padding, we're gonna set it to 0, like this. So let's take this size hint here from our MD label and put it inside the box layout. Then we're gonna take the MD label and tab it inside. So let's do the same. Let's scroll upwards for this label here. Now we need to change this to navigation, like this. Okay. Um let's run this and see how this looks. Okay. Now this looks better. Right. So what we're gonna do at the bottom here, right? We're gonna make sure that we have what we call it. Excuse me. We're gonna have let's say we have 10 projects, right? So they're going to be staked here underneath our projects label here. So they're just gonna be down here so that we can scroll them and select. If you select the projects, then that project, that not the project that we're gonna be shown on our screens, right? If you select stuff, we're gonna be able to see our stuff, edit our stuff, delete our stuff. Same with projects, gonna be able to add a project, edit that project, and delete it. But then from our projects, from this one here, we're not gonna be able to edit the text and the comments and add attachments and whatnot, right? So now let's just put our scroll view here and a grid layout underneath that one. So let's minimize this. Okay, so inside here, let's add our scroll view like this. Then let's give it a bar width of 0, so that we just make sure that we don't see the scroll bar. And to make sure that we don't see it, we're gonna set the bar color to transparent, right? So 0, 0, 0, 0, like this. Then we're gonna say size underscore int y. And I set this to null, like this. Then our height is going to be self dot parent dot height, right? Then inside this scroll, right? So since scroll we only take one widget, right? We're gonna put a grid layout inside there, like this, right? And we're gonna give this an ID. So our ID is going to be projects list, right? Projects underscore list. And our calls, we're gonna set them to 1 so that we only have one navigation tab displayed there, right? It's like one project displayed horizontally. Then I'm gonna say size underscore int underscore y. We're gonna set this to none, and our height self dot minimum underscore height, like this. And we're not gonna need some spacing here, right? So let's scroll upwards and reduce some spacing. We had 20 display pixels, right? A spacing here. But we're not gonna need it down here, right? Okay, let's open this. Right. So we don't need most of these, right? So let's just get rid of the spacing here. So let's minimize this. Where do we have spacing? So for now, let me just comment it out, right, and run this again. Okay. This is closely stacked together, right? So excuse me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the spacing back, right? Then I'm gonna put these navigation buttons in their own box layout, right? Which doesn't have any spacing. And I'm gonna, yeah, let's do that. Okay, where do we have our navigation tabs? So here, let's put a box layout like this. And let's give it some orientation of vertical, like this. And let's give it a size of y of none, and our height. So our navigation tabs have, let's open buttons.py, right? So we have 40 display pixels as our height, right? So, and we have 3 navigation buttons here, right? Which we're gonna put inside this box layout. So we need to give this a height of 120 display pixels, like this, right? So we left an A here. Let's create some space here, right? Not gonna need any padding and any spacing, right? So let's copy these, tab them inside, right? Okay. So let's run it. Don't forget to uncomment that spacing. That's okay. Here. Okay, looks much better. So let me just put some dummy projects down here, right? So that you can see if our projects are looking okay. So let's paste this here, right? Tab it inside. Let me just paste as much as many as I can. Okay. So we have our projects down here, right? And we can scroll and select this one, 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 and select this one. So now we should be able to do this from the Python code, right? But before we do that, right, let's first work on the right side. and create our screen so that whenever we click here, we're going to show the project screen and select the project from our database and display it there. Same as the staff projects and overview, right? So let's work on the right side. Put some icons here. We're going to put the logout button, notification button, add project button here. And then underneath that, we're going to leave space for the overview screen, project screen, staff screen, and each project. So we're going to have one screen that these navigation patterns are going to be using, right? So let's minimize this. Okay. Hold shift. So let's leave, now let's get rid of all of them like this, right? So scroll downwards and let's start working on this patch here. So to do that with much ease, right, what I'm gonna do is navigate to our widgets folder, right? And inside here, I'm gonna create a file, and I'm gonna call this file layouts. It's going to be layouts.py, right? So inside here, let me just create a class, right? And I'm gonna call this custom box layout like this. And this is going to take common elevation behavior like this. I'm gonna need background color behavior. And I think we're gonna need a box layout, right? And if this doesn't work, we're just gonna add something else or change something else. So inside here, we need an init function, right? Let's just import these. Okay. Right. Init self. But here, like if I use a Kivy, this just add star keyword arguments, right? Like this. Then here let's have super parentheses here dot underscore init. And inside here we're gonna pass in our keyword arguments, right? Like this. So right here, right, what we need to do is we need to pass in the ND color, like the ND background color. So here we need to say self dot MD underscore BG underscore color. So we're just gonna make sure that these custom layouts, right? We're just gonna make sure that they have a white background, right? So here we're gonna say white. Then now we're gonna say soft dot theme elevation underscore level. We're gonna set this to custom. I had a typo here, so let me just get rid of this M and put an N here. Then here we're gonna say self dot elevation underscore level. We're gonna set this to 1, right? Then now we need to say self dot theme shadow underscore effect, and this needs to be custom also. All right, then our shadow effect, we're gonna set it to, let's say, self dot shadow underscore effect like this. So here we're just gonna say our 0, -1 like this. Then we need shadow softness, right? So let's say self dot theme underscore shadow underscore softness, and we're gonna set this to custom, right? Now we need a shadow softness, right? So soft dot shadow underscore softness. We're gonna set this to 4, right? And I think we're gonna need some radius. So here let's say soft dot radius is going to be, so let's put a list here. So we're gonna need display pixels. So we're gonna dp, and inside parentheses let's put 20 display pixels. So I'm just gonna copy this, and the last one like 4, right? So we're gonna have like really rounded edges, right? So let's import our display pixel, right, from Kivy metrics. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, then I'll paste it underneath here. So we're gonna need a float layout. So this is going to be custom float layout, right? And this needs to be a float layout like this. So let's import our float layout. Okay, so now we have our, excuse me, our custom layouts, right? So let's go back to home.kv and work on our screen, right? Okay, let's reduce the size of this, right? So that we have a little bit extra screen release state to work with, right? Okay, so inside this main window, right, we already have the orientation set to vertical. That's fine. Spacing 20 display pixels. We may need to reduce it, but we're gonna see that whenever we are creating the stuff in the project screen, right? So inside this main window, what we're gonna do here is let's put a box layout, and let's give it some size in y of none, and some height of let's put 60 display pixels like this. Then let's give this some spacing. Let's give some spacing of 20 display pixels, and let's give it some padding, right? So inside here, right, so let me just copy this. Okay, so the left side we're gonna give it some padding of 20 display pixels, the top side 20 display pixels, the left side 20 display pixels, and the bottom we're gonna set it to 0, right? So inside here, right, excuse me, um what we can do, right, is we can display the main user, right, on top. Then we can have the, what you call it, the staff member at the bottom, and they are all displayed at the bottom, right? So let's just open our session.json file real quick. Okay, so we have the staff ID. Okay, Sophia Lee, raw designer, right? um okay, 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 let's open login.py. I want to check something real quick. So we're getting the, okay, nah, it's fine. So we can just display the currently logged in user and their role, right? Let me get rid of this. Okay, excuse me. So let's navigate back to home.kv, right? So right here, let's put a box layout. Keep forgetting to put this A here. Um, let's give this some orientation of vertical, right? Inside there, let's put some MD labels. So let's start with the first one, right? We're not gonna size this, right? So we're just gonna make sure that the both of them are gonna take equal space, right? You don't need to put an S here. Okay. So let's say text. So our text is going to be root dot we called it user, right? And it's going to be raw, okay? Root dot user So let's style this, right? So we're gonna say font underscore style. It's going to be label, and our row is going to be medium, like this. Let's make this one bold. So bold is going to be true, like this. And let's give it some color, right? So our color here is going to be 4A4749. 4A4749 with this. And we're gonna say H align. So let's align this to the right, like this. So I'm gonna copy this label here and paste it at the bottom. Right. So this is going to be row. Okay. So row dot row like this. And let's get rid of this bold here. Right. So next to the box layout, right? And let's put our custom float layout like this, right? And let's give it let's say size underscore hint underscore, excuse me, let's say X, right? We're gonna set it to none, and height, this should be width. It's going to be self dot height, like this, right? Let me copy this and paste it. Yeah, let's make them three of them, right? So before we proceed, we didn't import these custom layouts, right? So let's open ed.py, right? So right here, right, let me just copy this, paste it 2 times. There's going to be custom box layout, and this is going to be custom float layout. With this, I hope I didn't make a typo, and this needs to be layouts like this, right? Excuse me. Now we get back to home.kv. So this let's add our icons, right? So here this needs to be MD icon button, right? So the icon here is going to be logout. Then we're gonna say theme, text, color. It's going to be custom. Then text color. Let's just set it to black, right? So hashtag 6 zeros, like this. Let's give this position hint. So pause hint, curly braces. So inside we're gonna say center X. We're gonna set this to 0.5, right? Then let me just copy this and change this to Y, right? So it's going to be at the center of our custom float layout, right? Then let's add an on press, right? So this is what's going to happen whenever we press this MD icon. So you're just going to say root dot logout, right? So we don't have this function just yet. So let's keep it in there. So let's copy this, paste it here. So this needs to be the bell, let's say bell outline like this, right? So this needs to be show underscore notifications. So we don't have this function just yet, right? Let's run this and see how this looks. Okay, we have an error. Oh, we don't have this row and the other one, right? So let's open home.py. So here let's have raw. It's going to be a string property. Let's duplicate this. This needs to be user, and we're gonna need a user ID, right? So this is going to be user underscore ID, and this is going to be a numeric property like this. So let's import this. Hence import our string property from kivy.properties. So let's put parentheses here like this. Okay. So let's run it again. Okay, so there at the bottom here, right? So let's go back to home.kv. So underneath the main box layout here, right? So let me just copy this. Paste it here. So let's run it again. Okay. So here we have, you can see we have a little bit of a shadow around it, right? So that our icons can pop out a little bit more, right? So we don't have an icon for this, right? So what we can do, we can take this color and put it here. Then should we have this so that we can easily add our projects on top here. So now let's get rid of this, right? And we work on fetching our user and the role from our session.json, right? Then fetching our projects here so that we can display them underneath here. So let's minimize this. So let's get rid of this for now. We might put it back later, but for now, let's get rid of it. Then underneath here, we need to have some screens, right? So let's just navigate to init.py, scroll downwards. So we're gonna need the screen manager here. So let's just copy it. Then navigate back to home.kv and paste it here. Right. So this one is screen manager, right? But the main one. So let's change this to home underscore screen manager, right? And let's put some screens here. So we're gonna need 4 screens. So let's give this one a name. So this is going to be overview screen underscore screen. This one is going to be projects. Let's put an S here. Screen. Like this. This one is going to be stuff, and this one is going to be, let's move an S here. This needs to be stuff like this, right? So now let's add our on state functions to our navigation tabs, right? So let me just split this. Let's say split right. Okay, so we can see the screens here. Where do we have our tabs here? Tabs. Okay. Right. Right. So here let's say on underscore state. I'm gonna say home underscore screen underscore manager dot current is equal to, so let's put them to quotes here, right? So the first one is overview. So let's paste it in here. The second one is projects. So let's paste it in here. And this one is stuff, right? So let's paste this in here like this. So we're gonna work on this one. So let's leave it like this for now. So let's run it. Before we do, right, let me get rid of this. Let me scroll downwards. We should be able to see if that's the correct screen we're showing, right? So here, let me just put a button and let's give it some text. This is going to be over here. So let me copy this, paste it here. This is going to be projects. This is going to be stuff like this. So let's run it. Okay. We have projects, we have stuff, right? So now we can change our screens, right? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make sure that this works, right? This one we can work on it at the end so that we can know which notifications we're gonna be showing, right? So let's work on this and work on fetching our project, right? Because if you look at the inside our template folder, right, we have this populate.py file, right? So it has some damn information here, right? As you can see, how many projects do we have? We have 1 and 2 projects here, right? So we need to fetch them and display them inside our navigation, inside our sidebar. Yeah, and then after that, we're gonna work on adding projects, updating and deleting them. All right. So now, okay, let's get rid of this. So we need the home.py. So okay, yeah, it is right. So before we do any further, we need to fetch this. Do anything further, right? We need to fetch these here. User ID, user, and role, right? So we need let's get rid of this. We need login.py. Okay. So let's just copy this. Not gonna need get stuff. Let's just copy it. Hold shift. Then we're gonna change it so that we're gonna use it to fetch the projects, right? So let's navigate to on.py and let's paste it here like this. So let's import this clock from kivy.clock. Okay. Get user ID. Let's import JSON and this connection from that data connection to connection here, right? It's this folder here and this here. Minimize this, close this, get rid of this for now, and this for now. Not gonna need this, right? Excuse me. So here we're fetching our user ID, right? So now we need to fetch our user and our role, right? So this is going to be user and this is going to be raw. So I'm gonna comment this get stuff here, right? So that we can see for our fetching our user and our raw. So let's run this. Okay, so here you can see we have Sophia Lee and she's a designer, right? Okay, so this is working. So now let's work on our logout function real quick. Minimize this. Scroll downwards. We need to import this warning pop-up here. Do we need to import anything else? Nah, we could. Okay. So here we need to say define logout, right? And it's gonna take itself at this. So if we open our widgets folder, right, we have pop-ups here. So we're gonna be using this confirm pop-up, right? So let's see. So this takes in a title and a callback, right? And let's look at something. Do we need to change something like colors or something? I don't know. Okay, let's not get rid of the pie, right? So what we need to do here, we need to create a variable, right? So I'm just going to call it logout, right? So logout is going to be that confirm pop-up, right? Let's put parentheses here. So we need to import this. So it's inside our widgets folder. So it's going to be from widgets.popups import popup. Okay. So now let's say logout dot title. So this is going to be what's going to be asked, right? So here we're just gonna say, are you sure you want to log out? Right? Let's put a question mark here. Then underneath that we need to say logout dot callback, right? So this is what's going to happen. Let's say we say yes, right? Are you sure you want to log out? If you say yes, this is what's gonna happen, right? So here we're just gonna say, if we say yes, right, we're just gonna say self dot, let's just call it logout callback, right? The function that's what we're gonna call if we say yes. So now we need to say logout dot open, right? So that we can see the function, right? So we're gonna see the pop-up and then okay. So now let's create our logout callback. So here we're gonna say define logout underscore callback, right? It's gonna take in self and some let's just say star arcs. You can just put an underscore in here, right? So what we're gonna need here is our session file, right? Because we're gonna update our session.json file. Then we're gonna switch on screens, right? So let's okay, we still have login.py, right? So let's scroll downwards. I'm gonna need this one here. So let me copy this inside home.py. Let's just paste it here, right? Like this. So now, right, let's just make this empty like this. And our row is going to be empty also like this. So now we don't have staff ID, right? So we need to set it to 0 like this. Let's open login.py. Where were we getting our staff ID? So it was at the top here, right? Oh, okay, it's still fine. Let's go back to home.py. Let's get rid of pop-ups. Right, so this should be fine like this, right? We need to import this MD app, right? So it's going to be from KivyMD.app, import Kivy, import MD app. Now we should be able to log out like this, right? So let's try it out. Okay, are you sure we want to log out? Yes. We did. Oh, okay, I know why. So this needs to be login screen, right? We need to switch this to the login screen. So let's when I need app folder and ini.py file, right? So let's do this here. Where's the home.py and press this here. So let's run it again. Okay, so let's log in. That's correct. Okay, now let's log out. Okay, now that's done, right? So now let's just make sure that whenever we open this, we clear this, right? Let's open login.py. User ID, staff ID, right? Run essentials. let's say self dot clear, right? So now let's create this function. Let's put it here. Okay, scroll downwards. We're gonna need these two. Okay. Let's run it again. Okay, so now we need to make sure that we put that text we have here, right? So that whenever we start this, right, it clears this and it cleared this also. But we add some text in here, right? So that we're going to use to validate the form, right? So let's just put it back. Let's scroll downwards. Select your name, right? Like this. So let's put it um here like this. Okay. Let's log in. Right. Now let's log out. Okay. Let's log in as another person. Right. And this changed here, right? Let's log out. Okay. So this is fine, right? So let's log in like so that we just have a name right inside our session.json because I'm just gonna comment this login screen again, right? Then we're just gonna open and navigate straight to the work screen. Okay. So now let's minimize this. Need the py, control Z, save it. Okay. Let's go back to home the py, right? So now we need to fetch our projects from excuse me, our projects from what do you call it? From our database, right? So let's do this here. Let's change the name to get projects like this, right? Um, let's open create.py. Okay, let's minimize this. Get rid of login.py. Get rid of this for now, right? We might need to create a separate what do you call it, navigation tab, but or we just tweak something to the navigation tab, right? Or create.py. Okay, stuff projects, right? So this is what we're gonna get from the projects, right? So we don't need to fetch some other stuff and match and whatnot and match something from other tables, right? We're just gonna fetch these, okay? So that's fine. So you need to say select all from projects like this, where user ID is equals to this, right? Now let's copy this. Right. Um, we might only need the name, right, and the ID. We're not gonna need all of these, the rest of them, right? We can just fetch these, right? Once we open the main screen, then we're gonna need those other ones, right? Yeah, I think that might work. So let's get rid of these and stay with name. We're not gonna need the user ID, right? Let's get rid of. We already have an ID, so let's get rid of this. So our name is at index what? So 0, 1, 2. So our name is at index 2. This is X and index 2 like this. Okay. So now we should fetch our, excuse me, list of tables, right? Or projects, I mean. So let's change this to list of projects. Not gonna need to send these somewhere, right? So let's get rid of this. No, let's get rid of this. Or let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. It's fine. On top here, right? I'm just gonna create a variable, projects underscore in underscore db, right? And this is going to be a list property. Like this. So let's import this. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here, right, is let me just put this at the top, right? So that whenever we run this function, we make sure that all the projects in our database are cleared. And this needs to be projects list. Right. Okay. Then we append it. It's fine. So now let me just copy this. So here when I say define, so this needs to be on underscore projects list, right? So that whenever we do something to the projects list, this function is going to be called, right? So if there are no projects, right, and we call this function and we already have projects on our screen, right, this is going to at first clear our grid layout, right? Then if there's something inside the list variable, right, it's going to update our navigation, our sidebar, right, and put the stuff inside of it, right? So let's say one deletes one project. This is going to do something, right? So here let's just say it's going to take in self, then it's going to take in instance and the projects list variable, right? So inside here, right, what we need to do, right? Excuse me. Okay. So let's proceed, right? So like I was saying before, right? So whenever these this self project list, right, projects in DB, right, is disturbed, right? So once we append some data, right, we're gonna run this on projects. It should be on projects in DB, right? Okay, control. Let's do this. Okay. Right. So what we need to do, right, to make sure that we clear everything, right, inside our grid layout before we do anything. We need to clear everything inside our grid layout so that way we don't have our projects piling up on top of each other, right? So what we need to do is when I say table, right? And when I say solve dot ideas dot what this way. Let me just check on dot kv what we call this with okay projects list, right? So let's just say projects in underscore db underscore list, right? Control D, Control C it, navigate back to home reply. Let's get rid of this one and Control D, paste it here like this, right? So what we need to do is we're gonna clear our table, right? So here we're gonna say table dot clear widgets like this, right? So once we've cleared something, right, we need to put a for loop here, right? So we're gonna say for x in, we called it projects in DB, right? Like this is what we're gonna do, right? So here, let's say I usually have like a format to this, right? So if it's something else, I would have said like table or right, but for this one, since it's the navigation, let's just say a navigation row like this. So this is going to be our navigation tab like this, right? So let's open our buttons or try, right? It's inside our widgets folder here. Okay. Um, it takes in an icon text, right? So what we can do, right? We can make sure that it takes in an ID also, but we're not gonna use this ID anywhere else, right? We're only gonna use it when we're selecting our projects, right? So let's add it here. We're just gonna say ID is equal to numeric property like this. So let's navigate back to warm the pie, right? So inside here, when I say navigation row dot ID, is going to take in from our ID inside our, what do you call it? We call it ID, right? Let's go now from this one, from this ID inside our projects, right? Projects in DB list variable, right? So this is going to be a numeric property, right? So let's just make sure that this is turned into a string, right? We might not need to turn this into a string because we're not going to display it. So let's not turn it into a string, right? Control Z. So let's leave it like this, right? So let's paste this. This is going to be text, right? And this needs to be name, right? The name of our project. So this is going to be icon like this. And this here is going to be say briefcase dash outline like this, right? So that we can see that this is excuse me, so that we can see that this is a project, right? We're only gonna have one icon for all the projects, right? So now that we have this, right, let's say table, or we call it table. I'm gonna say table dot add widget. So where's the widget we're adding? We're adding our navigation row like this, right? So let's try to run it and see if this works. Okay, so here we have our project, right? Displaying here, like, oh, okay. So let's give this a group, right? Okay, so let's copy this, right? And let's get rid of this. Let's put let's put inside quotes and change the text inside to navigation, right? Because that's the same group we gave to the other navigation tabs, right? And we need to change this here to group like this, right? Okay, so let's run it and see how this works. Okay, so our navigation tabs are working, right? So let's minimize this. Okay, so our navigation tabs are working, right? Like all of them, right? So I was thinking of having that what you call it? Let's open on the Kivy, right? And scroll downwards, right? So I was thinking of making this its own screen, right? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of it. Then I'm gonna have like a pop-up, right? It's gonna take in like 90% of the screen or all of the screen, right? Whenever we click it. So whenever we click a project, that pop-up is gonna open and then it's gonna display the details of that project, right? So that we don't. So in order to do that, right, we're gonna use models, right? The model view widget in KivyMD and Kivy, right? So I'm just gonna use the Kivy one. So what I'm gonna do is let's navigate to our widgets folder. So we have this model, the Py file here, right? So I'm just gonna double click it and open it, right? So for now, right, in this video, we're just gonna create the template for it. So when you click it, it's just gonna open. It's only gonna be white, and we're gonna do the same for notifications, right? Then now we end the video there, right? So that it doesn't get unnecessarily long, right? Okay, so let's proceed, right? So we're gonna say class. Um, let's do project model, right? Like this, and it's gonna inherit from model view, right? So if you're using template folder, right, it's already imported, right? The model view, yes. So it's from kivy.ux.model view, import model view like this, right? So inside you're just gonna have an ID, and it's going to be a string property. Let's say numeric property like this, right? Okay. So let's do the same for notifications. Let's put notifications on top. So notifications model, right? So let me copy this and let's do this one first, right? So let's paste this inside here, right? So what we need to do, right? By default, model views have a gray color. It's like the same color you find on a button, right? And on a Kivy button by default, right? That gray color, that dark gray color, right? So what we need to do is we just need to make the background transparent, right? So I'm gonna say background and let's just put empty quotes like this, right? Then you're gonna say background underscore color. Let's set this to transparent, right? So you're gonna say 0,0,0 like this, right? Then inside here, right, let's put an anchor layout like this. Then let's say should we anchor it to the left? Okay, let's always anchor it to the left, right? Then anchor Y, right? On the Y part. Um I don't know. I don't know. Let me think. Okay, let's just anchor it to the left, right? So what I say, anchor underscore x, let's just say right, right? When I anchor it to the right side of our screen, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put a box layout, right? Like this. And I'm gonna give it a size int underscore x of none and some width. And our width is going to be, for notifications, let's set it to 400 display pixels, right? Like this, right? And let's give this some padding. So by doing this, right, our size int y is going to be none. It's going to be one, right? It's going to take up all of the size int at the top, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this some padding, right? The left side, I'm not gonna put any padding, right? I'm just gonna set it to leave it at 0, right? Then the top padding, right? I'm gonna set it to, let's say, 50 display pixels, right? So what I'm trying to do is, right, so when you click on the notification button, right, when it pops up, right, it's only gonna take in a small part and just gonna take in a little bit of the AMD icon patterns, right, so that it somewhat looks like it's appearing exactly where the button is, right? So that's what I'm trying to imitate here. So let's set it to 50 display pixels on top. Then let's say on the left side, let's say 20 display pixels. And the bottom is going to be 20 display pixels also. Alright, like this. So inside this box layout now, we're gonna put a box layout. And this box layout, we're gonna give it a background color. So when I say canvas dot before, then here we're gonna say color RGBA, RGBA, parentheses, and inside there we just want to put white. So hashtag 6Fs like this. Then we're gonna say rounded rectangle. Then we're gonna say pause for position. It's going to be the self.pause. Then size is going to be self.size like this. Then radius is going to be 20 display pixels like this, right? Okay. So for now, we're not gonna do anything in here, right? Um, let's just give it there's some orientation, right? So orientation is going to be vertical like this, right? And should you give this some spacing? Uh, let's give it some spacing. So let's set the spacing to 20 display pixels like this, right? And we give this some padding. Nah, let's not give this some padding, right? So underneath inside our box layout, right? Let's put a box layout here. And let's give it some height. So size int y is going to be none. And all right, let's set it to 40 display pixels, right? So inside here, we're gonna put a label like notifications. Then we're gonna put a close button. So we're gonna use this button to close our notifications model. and our project model, right? Then let's add some spacing, yeah. So let's set it to 20 display pixels, right? Inside here, let's add an MD icon button, right? So the icon is going to be close, right? So it's just going to be an X here. Then let's say theme underscore text underscore color. Let's set this to custom, right? Then text color. So let's make this gray, right? Excuse me. So hashtag AD8AHC like this, right? Let's give this a position hint, right? So pause int, curly braces, inside here quotes, and inside those quotes we're gonna say center underscore X, right? So this is going to be 0.5, right? So let me copy this, comma, paste it again. Let's change this to center Y, right? Then here we're gonna say on underscore press, right? So here we're just gonna say root dot dismiss, right? So we're not gonna create this function, right? Because it's already it's a built-in for your built-in function inside our model view, right? Then underneath here, let's just put a box layout, right? So that we push everything upwards. So we're not gonna do anything inside this box layout at the bottom here, right? With this box layout, we're gonna need to give it some padding for the left and right side, right? Okay, so let's give it some padding. Okay, right, for the left and right side, 20 display pixels. For the top and bottom, 0, like this. So let's put a label here so that we can know that these are notifications, right? So here let's say MD label, right? So here we're gonna say text, and this is going to say notifications, like this, right? Then let's give this some style. So font style is going to be, let's maintain label, right? And our raw is going to be, let's say large, right? Then let's make the text bold. So bold is going to be true, like this, right? Okay. So let's copy this. Let's put a line of hashtags here so that we can separate these two, right? So let's press this. So let's copy this and paste it here, right? So here, right, this needs to be, this is going to be our project name, right? So for now, let's just say project, like this. Um, we don't need these to be like confined to a little box, right? So we want this to take up the whole screen, right? So I'm going to get rid of this here. Okay. Take this, tab it to the left, like this, right? Let's give this a solid int x. Um, since the project is going to be large, right? Let's say this one takes in let's just say it takes in and let's say the height takes in 9/10 or so. Let's just leave it at yeah. Okay, let me get rid of this. Right. And let's just make sure that we give this some padding like this. And the padding is going to be 20 display pixels. Should we say 20? Let's do 50 display pixels like this. Okay, let's leave this as rounded like this, right? I don't think we're gonna have any errors. So let's go through one of the Pi, right? Underneath our logout here, right? Let's show our notifications, right? So that we can open the notifications tab. So here we're gonna say define, we need home.kv. What did we call it? So I take in self, right? So now we need our notifications tab, right? So here we're just gonna say notifications is equal to our notifications model. Paste it here, put parentheses. So here we're gonna say notifications dot ID is going to be self dot user ID, right? Then we're gonna say notifications dot open, right? Excuse me. So let's copy this and let's do the same. Let's do it here, right? So this one is going to be show project, right? So this one is to take in instance of this works. This needs to be, what do you call it? Project or project, right? Project model. Okay, so let's import this and let's import this. So this needs to be instance.id. So now let's take this show project here, right? Then right here, I say navigation or dot on underscore state. It's going to be self dot show project, right? So let's run this. I hope this works. Okay, let's see if we open our notification model. Okay, so we can see our notifications model, right? We can even move this a little bit to the left so that it intersects here, right? So that it looks like it's coming out of our notifications model, right? So let's see if we can do this here. Okay, this is not working, right? What we can do, right? Okay, let's minimize this. Let's deal with this first, then deal with this one, deal with this one, minimize it. Let's go back on models.py, right? Notifications model, okay, right here. Excuse me. So let's open home.kv, right? So this box layout, we put the right padding to 20 display pixels, right? Then this float layout, this one here is taking up 40 display pixels, right? So we need to add 40 display pixels. Then this is 40 display pixels, right? Let's add 20 display pixels for the spacing between this one and this one. Then another 20, so that it's half this size, right? So we need to add 80. So let's try 100 display pixels, right? So let's open model.py. This one here, let's say 100, right? And let's increase this size, excuse me, to 500. So let's run it again. Okay, let's open up. Okay, now it's looking like it's attached to this notification. Excuse me. Let me just try and drink some water and clear my voice a little bit. I'm just gonna pause this video here for a minute. Okay. So let's see that let's reduce this to 40, right? Like this. Then right here, right? Let's say this is 60 display pixels, right? Then let me copy this, paste it here, right? Paste it here also, put a comma, and the bottom one is just gonna set it to 0, right? So let's run it again. Okay, okay. Yeah, this is now looking much better, right? This works, this works. So now let's deal with this. Then okay, what we'll do is, right, project model view. So let's open home.py, right, and see what's up. Um, what we can try to do, right, is get rid of this on state here, or we can say on state down. What can do here? Right. Let's try on state underscore down. If it doesn't work, I'll try something else. Okay, this is not working. So let me comment this out, right? Excuse me. And try and use this, right? So let me copy this. Let's open buttons.py, the navigation tab here. Let me paste this here. So here I'm gonna say define on underscore ID, right? This is going to definitely cause problems, right? Should we continue like this? Okay, before we try this, right, I just need to try something real quick. Let's go back to home.py, right? Let's get rid of this. Here, let's say bind, right? Let's put parentheses here. Yeah, let me get rid of this one. And let's put it at the end here, like this, right? Here when I say on underscore release, like this, right? So let's run it again. Okay, this worked. So let's minimize this and just do one little fix, then end this video, right? Okay, so let's open model pirate. Let's scroll upwards. Okay, let's copy this here. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, so let's try closing it, right? So we're just gonna end this video here, right? So that it doesn't become unnecessarily long, right? I'll upload the next part in about 4 to 5 days time, right? So have a wonderful day. Peace.